This episode is brought to you by Smitty's Beard Sauce. No beard required. Whether you're going with Smitty's Beard Scorcher, the Scotch Bonnet, the Ghost Pepper, or the Sweet and Spicy, just know this is the best damn barbecue sauce on either side of the Mississippi. Get yours at smittysbeardsauce.com. This episode is also brought to you by Nighthawk Footwear, the first and only Gaiters equipped with lights in today's market. This, my friends, is a game changer for anyone that enjoys the outdoors. Light your path and get you a pair of lighted Gaiters at lightedfootwear.com. What's going on, everybody? This is your host, Ron Legal, as usual, and welcome to Journeyman Outdoors, episode number 2. And we got 2 special guests here today from one of my favorite companies in the outdoor industry. I've got Jason and I've got John from Nighthawk Footwear. We're going to be talking to you guys a little bit about one of my favorite products that I'm using out in the field today. I'm going to give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves real quick.
This is John. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for inviting us to be here, Ron. I am one of the co-owners of Nighthawk Footwear.
And I'm Jason. I'm also excited to be on here with Ron, and we appreciate you having us tonight. I'm also one of the co-owners and director of the social media for Nighthawk Footwear.
Now, you guys probably see me posting weekly. I mean, it's usually repost. Sometimes you'll see my personal content where I'm wearing my lighted Gaiters, which we're going to jump right into for those that don't know what that is. It's become one of my go-to products every time I'm in the field. Actually, it's the first thing that's in the truck every time I go out to the field. So that just goes to tell you how important these things are to me when I'm out there. It's a lifesaver, literally. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show. But let's jump straight into it, guys. How did Nighthawk start?
I started several years ago when, Jason and I, we've known each other for years. We actually have a third co-owner. His name is JR, but he's not here. He's overseas right now. So we got together and, we like to put things together, create stuff. And we said, why not, just work on different things together and have fun, and just ended up starting this company. And we made a prototype of our lighted Gaiters, and we started producing, I should say we started messing with it and testing them out. And we said, why not create a company and really officially get these Gaiters launched?
So, John, when you guys decided to create this, were you outdoors? Were you at home? Like, when did this bright idea just come about? Like, tell us a little bit about what sparked this. What made you decide, hey, I want to bring lighted Gaiters out to the field and bring this out to the world for people to use as a nifty tool on their everyday outdoor activities?
Yeah, I think we all outdoorsmen. We like to be outside, and Jason likes to hunt and fish, and I like to go skiing and hiking, and JR likes to do a bunch of different things. We just came about with this idea, and JR actually has a patent on lighted footwear, lighted boots. So we thought, why not, at the idea of having lighted Gaiters, because, not everybody wear boots when they're hiking.
Right.
So that's, I think it's just, 3 guys like doing things together and just get together and just make stuff up.
I'll tell you what, this is one of those ideas I wish I was with my boys out in the woods all together and, just came to mind. And I wish it was one of those things that I thought about, because I literally use these things every single time I'm outside hunting. I've used them while I'm fishing. I mean, I've even used them going out for jogs in the middle of the night. So there's plenty of benefits to these things, but it's definitely one of those things that I thought of. So I'm glad that you guys are bringing this to the market. And for those of you that don't know what Gaiters are, who wants to take the floor to explain that? I mean, I have a full write-up on my Instagram. If you go through my page, you could read up about that. But let's give the people that little piece of information for the ones that don't know what Gaiters are. Obviously, these are lighted, so you have those extra benefits. We'll get into that. But what are Gaiters?
So Gaiters, this is Jason. The Gaiters have been on the market for a while, primarily in the hiking world and some in the hunting world, and it's become more popular in the hunting world recently. What they are, they're basically a pretty heavy duty waterproof material that wraps around your leg from your knee down to your ankle, and can be used over boots or pants, or even sometimes people wear them just around their calves in the summertime. And what they do, they provide protection depending on the materials they're made of, as well as waterproofing, and can even be made of materials to resist snake bites, which we can go into in a little bit.
We're definitely going to get into that.
But so what we did with these Gaiters, we added lights to them at the top. So we created a Gaiter by looking at about 20 different pairs of Gaiters on the market, from really low end cheap Gaiters to really high end Gore-Tex Gaiters with $200 plus price tags. And we took all the qualities that we saw in these Gaiters and studied them intensively and came up with our own design, and took the things we liked about certain ones and the things we didn't. And then also we incorporated the housing or sleeve for housing our light as well at the top. So right now we have a couple different models, which we can go into the models later, I'm sure, Ron.
Yeah, for sure. We're definitely going to get into that.
But that essentially is what they do. They're protective gear. They're great to have in the woods. If you have an expensive pair of camo pants or something that you don't want briars to eat up over time, or you've got some decent boots that you don't want to get soaking wet, that type of thing, it's very effective in protecting your gear for a fraction of the cost of what you'd pay for those other items.
So when you say like waterproof and weatherproof and things like that, could people use them in the snow, in the rain, mud?
Absolutely. So the two current models that we have a waterproof liner on the inside that's virtually impermeable. So, we have people that bought them obviously out west that use them in the snow. We have done various testing on them with water. Right now, our lights are water resistant. They're not submersible, but they will take a lot of water, direct contact with water, and without any issues. And that's part of our design as well. But yeah, there are so many uses for them in wet environments, and they can really keep you dry. Just the other day, I went on a hiking trip and literally walked through creeks, popped my lights out as I went across the creeks, just in case I were to hit a big hole or something. But it just keeps your pant legs really dry, and you don't get that wet, soggy ankle feeling while you're hiking down the trail.
So a lot of you guys know that I'm down in South Florida. So when I'm using these things, let me tell you, when you're in Florida as a whole, as a state, it doesn't matter where you are, you're going to run into water. So having that extra benefit, I mean, if you're waist deep, you're a little too far gone at that point. But having that extra benefit during rain season, like right now in the summertime where we're getting rain on a regular basis and walking through ankle high, almost knee high water, these things keep you dry. I could tell you firsthand, being in the Everglades, being in my local woods here, 30 minutes down the road, I'm always running into water. It definitely serves that benefit of staying dry. It definitely protects my legs. Sometimes I'm crazy and I go out there with shorts and I just throw them over my boots, and I don't have to worry about getting tore up by saw palms or from briars or anything like that that's out in the field. So it definitely serves that purpose of protection for sure. I could tell you guys firsthand that every time I go out to the woods, I'm walking through some pretty thick stuff, and these things are taking care of me every single time.
And I think another thing that people don't realize is, like you were saying, if you go in to off trail, you walk around and you don't realize that your pants get wet over time, and that moisture actually get soaked into your socks, and you end up having wet feet.
Oh, the one thing I hate is wet feet and wet socks.
Yep. Socks act like a wick, so it just pulls that water straight down.
Definitely helps with that, and it definitely helps with the protection of the legs. But let's get into the benefit of the lights. What benefit does that hold? I could tell you guys firsthand what it holds, but I want you guys to tell us what exactly made you guys say, let's throw some lights on these things.
Well, I think the number one thing is hands-free lighting. You can just walk around, with your hands, being able to do other things with your hands. That's one thing, and another thing that we actually didn't realize until later is how much the ground is lit up in front of you, and that became a super nice benefit as you're walking in the woods, in the dark. You don't worry about tripping, stepping into things that you're not supposed to.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits, which John touched on some, but one thing, I personally have used headlamps for years in the stand and for hunting, and they've been pretty effective. But over time, that band gets to be annoying. If you sweat underneath that band, it can leave kind of rubs your head raw.
Yeah.
For a while. The other thing is, with the light from a headlamp, when you're walking through the woods, they make them anywhere from 50 lumens to a gazillion.
Yeah, it's unlimited.
So you can shine, light up the whole woods if you want to. We're not in the market to make the most powerful, best performing light in the world, but we want to make something very well made that actually will light up where you need it the most, which is at the ground. When you have a headlamp on, obviously your head controls the how the light shines. So if you turn in to the left and you're walking straight, you have a moment of kind of a unbalanced feeling because you've gone, when you turn back, it's dark. So this eliminates that, as well as if you and I are talking to each other at night in the middle of the night, searching for a down deer or a hog or anything like that.
The second you look at me, I'm blind.
You're blind. I mean, so you're seeing white light for, at least 10 seconds until you can shake that off. So that's another nice feature. The other thing is, and I know you have them, small mosquitoes down there in Florida. We have some up here in Georgia, but nothing like what you have down there in the bugs.
Yeah.
The bugs come straight to your headlamp, and you're swallowing bugs. If you're walking in the woods at night, you're swallowing bugs. And when we have these things on, we noticed all the bugs stay down at your feet, and occasionally one might, stray off and come up near your face, but it's like a 95% reduction of bugs in your face. So that's some of the benefits of having light down low. If we want to get on the more technical side, the refraction of light from the headlamp, you're shooting out about 6 feet in front of you. So if you have like a 300 lumen headlamp, with refraction, you're losing a lot of the light intensity once it hits the ground.
Right.
We have 300 lumens, 150 on each of our lights on each leg, with a total 300 lumens of light. You're only shining about a foot to reach the ground. And so you're not losing near as much light to refraction. So that being said, you have a much brighter light, and it's always right where you need it, right where you're walking.
Yeah, that point about the bugs being in your face is one thing that just drives me absolutely insane being down here because South Florida is like the Amazon of the U.S. and we've got prehistoric things flying every direction when you're walking through the woods. You got grasshoppers, big mosquitoes, dragonflies, and it's honestly a pain when you got a headlamp on. I've gone through it for years before I figured out about this product, and you guys reached out to me over a year ago, and this is honestly the only light that I use when I'm out in the woods now, and that is one of the main benefits to that. Not getting swatted in the face with a bunch of bugs. Obviously, it has a ton of benefits outside of that, but yeah, when it comes to the lighting, I mean, that's absolutely great. And one thing I've noticed when I'm out in the woods and I'm wearing my gaiters, there's been plenty of times here where, like I said, we're moving through some pretty thick stuff, and I've been walking through 100 yards to a mile out, wherever it may be in the woods. And I've walked up on animals as close as 10 yards, and it doesn't seem to bother them at all because the light isn't very, I guess it's not too much of a distraction. It's not really putting too much pressure on them as opposed to like a headlamp that, like we said, they could go up to like a gazillion lumens nowadays with the way technology is going. But I've been able to creep up on things, before daylight or right at sunset, and they weren't bothered at all. And I think one of the other benefits to that is not only do you guys have white lights, you also have red lights.
Uh-huh.
And with that red light being lower on the spectrum of color, that definitely doesn't seem to bother them at all. I mean, I've walked up on rabbits, I've walked up on hogs, deer, doesn't spook them compared to a white light. So having those two options of different lights definitely helps. I know we've worked a trade show together, and a lot of people were like, oh, well, why don't you guys have green lights? Green lights this, green lights that. But red being such a darker color on the spectrum of colors definitely makes them feel a lot more comfortable compared to a green light, I feel. That's just my personal opinion, and it's something that I've tested out in the woods, and it seems to work. So I'm glad that the second choice of color was red for you guys.
Yeah, we actually looked at a study done by the University of Georgia Agricultural School. We read several studies on light colors and effects on deer. We looked at deer primarily, but well, you hit the nail on the head with the light being low. First of all, the deer's eyes and everything are higher up from the ground, so they're more likely to see a flashlight in your hand or a headlamp
Right
through the woods, or see that change in light, even if you're using a light color that they're not as capable of seeing. They still see the flash or the on and off or the movement. So that being our lights being really low, it helps out tremendously with them not seeing you. The wavelength of red light is the least likely that deer see, and that study proved it. I don't have it with me exactly, but we read a few different studies, but that was a pretty good study that we saw. So we have had some interesting green lights because we kind of think of it as like Ford versus Chevy.
Yeah.
Kind of your preference. So we're contemplating adding green lights to the mix down the road for people that like that. That's one thing that we do as a company. We listen to all the input from other people.
All right, guys, and while we're on the topic of lights, it basically explained to us, how they're fitted into the Gaiters. Just tell us a little bit more about the lighting aspect of this thing.
Yeah, so the lights, so we want to make something that is easy to use. So we made rechargeable lights, and these lights are 150 lumens each, like Jason mentioned earlier. They're the same for white or red light, so 150 lumen a piece. So you got 300 lumens below your knees. but there are 3 intensities. So you can actually put it on high. It'll last for about an hour and a half. You can put on medium, you double the time, and then you can put on low. You get like, somewhere between 4 to 8 hours.
Which is a very long time if you're in the woods, because I mean, the typical person that's going out to the woods, if you're hunting in that sense, you're getting out there maybe an hour before sunlight. Some people are a little bit crazy like I am, and you get out there 2 hours beforehand, but you could definitely squeeze in the time with the time limit that you have with these lights for sure.
Yeah, so for sure, and Jason doesn't even use them on high all the time, and medium is actually pretty bright as well. Like we mentioned before, we design these lights to light up what's in front of you, more so than shooting the light far away.
Right.
So you really need to see what's in front of your feet. So back to the light, they're rechargeable. It takes about 45 minutes to charge or so. They're detachable, so all you have to do is to pop them out of the sleeve of the Gaiters, and then plug it into. It's a USB connector, so you just plug it into one of those blocks like you use for your phones, and it takes 45 minutes to charge.
45 minutes is definitely a good time frame to just get back out there real quick in a hurry if you need to, or on your downtime, if you take a little break or something during the day while you're hunting, fishing, hiking, whatever it may be. What I typically do is while I'm in the truck, I always double check and make sure that my lights are charged. I'd say about 4 USB charging ports in my truck that I could use. So I'm always popping these things in there. It's super easy. It has an indicator on it. It lets you know if it still needs some time to charge. Green is when it's ready. So it's very simplified, and I think a lot of people out there like simple.
Yeah, for sure. You hit it on the head right there, Ron. That's exactly what I do when I go hunting. When I get in, my hunting club is approximately 40 minutes from my house, door to door. So I do the same thing. I check my lights, and then I pop them into my USB chargers in my truck. And by the time I get there, they're always topped off. And as John mentioned, I use medium maybe to walk into the stand. And once I'm in the stand, I put them on low, and you can get a lot of time. If I'm just using them, in and out of the stands, I can go a good 4 weeks of use. Obviously, depending on how many times I hunt, but
Right.
usually 3 or 4 days during hunting season, for 4 weeks, and I can do that off of one charge because I'm not using them that much. The other benefit, which I didn't realize until I started using them myself after we developed them. When you get into the stand, a lot of times people carry bags with them. I carry a backpack that's got a lot of my gear, my calls, more ammunition, whatever it may be, gloves.
Yeah, I think as far as that goes, the extra gear. I mean, not even hunting. If you're fishing and you're getting out there before first light, you have your tackle bag, you have your backpack, whatever it may be. If you're out there hiking and you're not going out there with just a water bottle, typically you're taking some extra
Right.
supplies as a safety precaution. But yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And that you can pop these lights out of the Gator and hold them up and look down into your bag, or use them, if you drop something down on the ground. So yes, they're fixed in the Gators, but they make a great dome light in the deer stand.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that I do as soon as I climb up into my tree stand, whether I'm using a climber or I got a lock on out there in the woods, which is definitely how I'm going this season because climbers are a pain. As soon as I get into my tree stand, though, I typically pop out one of my lights out of my Gators, and whatever I need out of my backpack, whether it's my wrist release for my bow or extra ammunition, whatever the case may be. If I'm still in a low light setting and I need that extra light, I just go down to my Gators and pop a light out, and that thing's going to give you more light than you need. Trust me. So when it comes to the Gators, Obviously, they're lighted. We just covered that, but I think a lot of people that are going to be listening to this, the majority of them are probably going to be hunters for sure in the beginning. What benefit does it have as far as snakes? We got this question a lot when we were running a trade show up in Georgia. I believe it was up in Perry, Georgia. We did a trade show last summer,
Yeah, buckle
and
on.
a lot of people came up to us and said, "Are they snake proof?" And I want to start off by saying I don't like the word proof, because when it comes to saying something is proof, you better be able to back that up and basically cover yourself, because you could get into a lot of legal troubles. I like the word resistant a lot more. So that's
Yeah,
that's
sure.
I'm sure you guys feel the same way. That's probably the word that we're going to be running with here. But yeah, tell us a little bit about as far as that goes. What benefits does it have against dangers as far as snakes?
Well, if you wear a pair of gaiters, you add a layer of protection, not only from the elements, but from anything, like you were saying before, Briar, and anything that can scratch you, including critters.
Yeah.
Um,
There's plenty of those out there.
so now we when we first started developing these gaiters, we didn't have snake proof or snake resistant in mind. We wanted to make a layer of protection, for your legs, and put some lights on them, and
Right.
help.
That wasn't the first thought when you guys were creating these things.
Right. So just to help you not trip and fall. And you can see where you're going, you can climb a tree stand easily, right? So, things like that. But we have recently, now, like you said, we went to trade shows, and not only in Georgia, it's like Utah.
Yeah,
Um,
you guys have done a
to
couple. You
see,
guys got a couple trade shows under your belt at this point.
right. And that's the number one question. Are they snake proof? So we got to listen to our customers. So we are listening, and we recently developed a prototype, and to make a snake resistant gators, a pair of snake resistant gators. And I think we like the test that we did, and I can let Jason to jump into the details.
Yeah, so basically, we actually work with the Department of Natural Resources in Georgia, and the DNR law enforcement division actually uses our Trailblazer Gators, which was our initial pair for night hunting. I'm sorry, night training of their canines. So they've got those, and then also the Georgia State Parks Rangers they bought 20 pair from us for their Rangers. But the reason I brought that up is the head of the DNR that we've spoken with and sat down in his office. He also was asking if they were snake resistant when we initially brought our first gator to him. But he put us in touch with a guy who also is named Jason, and he's got a company. His website is www.snakesrs.com, and he's been working with snakes since he was a teenager, and he's actually called upon by the state to do reptile rescues for either a snake somebody finds at their house, they want it gone, venomous snake, all the way to people that are housing illegal snakes from other countries, that from criminal activity, and rescues those snakes. So he's got houses 300 or 400 different varieties of snakes. He also does alligators and other things, but he's pretty much an expert on handling snakes, on behavior of snakes. And we got the pleasure of hooking up with him and being put in touch with him by the head of the DNR. And what he did was he brought 2 timber rattlesnakes, 2 patternless Western diamondbacks, which are very rare, but he had them. They were also somebody had them in custody, and then the last one was a sharp-nosed viper from southeastern Asia, which obviously is not a native snake.
Right. But you guys do, touching on that topic, sorry not to get off base here, but you guys do ship internationally, right?
We can ship internationally. We've actually shipped to Ireland. We've shipped to Canada. We've shipped to Germany, Japan, Philippines.
So there's other people out there in the world that could benefit from these also.
100%. 100%. There's a lot of places, especially Australia. We have somebody very interested in Australia right now that is waiting on our snake gators to be developed to use out there for a guide service that they have. Obviously, Australia houses some of the most venomous snakes around. So with our snake testing, back to get on that, we had a total of, let's see, what was it, 25 strikes on the prototype gator. All but maybe 2 of those were venom producing strikes. So we had 2 dry bites. Timber rattlesnake hit it 8 times.
That's a lot of wet strikes, and that's the ones that you want to worry about the most, for
Absolutely.
sure.
So timber hit it 8 times. One of the Western Diamondbacks wasn't even interested in striking, so we put him back in his little can, and we got another one out. And the second one struck it 8 times, and then the sharp-nosed viper hit it 9 times. Now the viper was the most vicious striking snake I think I've ever seen in person, and it had the largest fangs. We have a couple videos that we've made and put on our Instagram page and Facebook, but
I'm gonna attach a couple of those videos that you guys have, so the people listening could actually see what kind of testing these things went through after this episode's posted.
Okay. Yeah. So just to give you an idea, if you watch those videos, what we did and this has been a simulated test used by other companies. So it's not something we just dreamed up, but we put a balloon inside the gator and actually put the balloon under pressure by forcing the gator around it, making it more oblong and having a higher pressure inside the balloon, so that if there was any penetration at all to the gator by a fang, it would immediately pop the balloon. So during our test, Jason Clark, basically the snake expert, he used a heat gun and heated up the side of the gator, because we were dealing with pit vipers, which are all venomous, and they react to heat, and that's how they basically kill their prey.
Right.
So we had him heat up the thinnest part of the gator on the side doesn't have double fabric or anything on the outside, and tried to get the snakes to strike in that zone every time, and which was very effective, and basically kind of put the snakes in a corner in a defensive state to try to get them to strike. Very effective test. The balloon made it through all 25 strikes from 3 different venomous.
That is insane.
It was, we honestly, after about the second bite, I was looking at John like, okay, well, we may have something here, but I'm being honest, that we expected 4 or 5 strikes into it, we were toast, because if you could hear how hard like that timber rattlesnake was hitting the gator, it was unbelievable. I mean, and those things strike. I think in one of the videos I did a slow-mo and slowed it down. I try to catch the snake striking the gator, and literally it's over a period of less than a second and a half from start of the strike, striking the gator, and back into his striking pose.
Oh, it's a quick process. You're not going to see it coming for sure.
No, so I was like, holy cow. These things, I want to wear these things if I'm in areas where there's snakes. I mean, I am a firm believer of what we designed. Jason Clark, actually, we've got tons of footage that we're going to be releasing in the next few months, and kind of little excerpts, but he was just blown away. He was like, guys, I've never seen any piece of equipment because he gets people asking him to test snake stuff all the time. He's like, I've never seen any piece of equipment this durable to snake bites. So, but once again, you hit it before. We're not calling it snake proof. There's nothing out there that's snake proof. And if
Right.
you're buying something that's snake proof, it's not.
You better have a whole legal team behind you if you're putting that word behind.
I mean, anything can happen. A snake can, and we get the question, well, what if the snake bites you above the gator? Well, you're not going to be protected.
Yeah.
Fortunately, majority of snake bites that happen are on the feet and the hands from people handling them. And also, like if you're walking by them, they usually hit you in the calf.
Yeah.
Which I think, Ron, you might have a story of that.
Yeah. We're going to get into that in a second. I'm going to try to summarize that story up pretty quick, but what are you guys calling this next line of Gaiters?
The Sidewinder.
I like that.
Yeah.
That sticks very well. I like that name.
Yeah, the Sidewinder, if you're familiar with snakes, we it's a type of snake. It's also found out west, and they move sideways, and they call them Sidewinders. It's really cool the way they move, but it's very fitting for this type of gator.
Yeah, I dig that.
It's kind of like what our brain was doing when we were watching it get tested, and we're like, holy crap, man, this is awesome.
25 strikes, you said.
25 strikes.
That is insane.
Documented with video. I mean, we've got it all on video. So, I mean, that it's very difficult to find any Gaiters snake resistant or claiming snake proof Gaiters that have live documented footage of snake bites.
I've never seen it.
It's hard to find. We looked ourselves.
And I could tell you, I've owned a pair of it was a different company, a pair of snake gaiters, and let me tell you, they are some of the most uncomfortable things I've ever put on my legs. I'd rather just put some boots on and just wing it. But exactly. Now that this product is coming out and I've field tested basically the other two models that you guys have, yeah, I'm definitely going with these over what's out there on the market already, which honestly, I only think it's one other company. I could be wrong.
Yeah, so that's one thing we looked at also, and we actually designed early on a pair of lighted snake gaiters, just like the ones you were talking about. So we're very familiar with that. You can make them incredibly cheap. Most of them are made in the same area. And they all are made exactly the same. They basically, to dissect what they do, they take either like 600 denier Oxford material or sometimes 1,000 denier material, and then they put in a PVC, basically like piece of plastic on each side of the gaiter. And all of them, if you look at them, say one size fits all, because basically you're taking a 4-layer box and putting it around your leg and then cinching it down as best as you can.
It is so uncomfortable, man.
Yeah, so you're walking through like Johnny Robot through the woods. And of course it's going to be snake resistant because it's got a piece of plastic that's impenetrable, inside of it. But that's something that we were, like, how can we come up with something that's made of fabric, no plastic, is comfortable, not incredibly heavy, and gets the job done.
And flexes.
And flexible, yeah. Flexible.
Because you're not bending your leg in those other ones. I'll tell you that right now.
Exactly. And even like some of the old school snake chaps that come all the way up to your hip, incredibly hot. I actually had a pair years ago, and I wore them like twice, and I'm like, there's no way. I felt claustrophobic in them.
Yeah.
Like I basically gave them to some guy. I'm like, here, you can have these. I'll take my chances. But so we're trying to make something that's more revolutionary, like really comfortable. I think
comfort is a big word in the outdoor industry. Nobody wants to go out into the field and be uncomfortable and miserable. You're already dealing with the elements wherever you're at in the country. You don't want to have to worry about strapping on these bulky, boxy things on your leg and just being miserable the whole day. And Then you got to take them off if you're not feeling them after you're in the tree stand already. And it's just with these, I've seen the images, I've seen the video. I know you could flex and move around and be a lot more comfortable than the competitors that are out there in the field. Which, once again, I'll say it, comfort is a big deal in the outdoor industry. No matter what field you're in. Fishing, hiking, I don't care who you are, you want to be comfortable out there.
Right. Yeah. So far, and we haven't done incredible research, but we found one other main company that makes a fabric based snake gaiter that's very effective as well. But to be noted, ours cost half the price of theirs when we launch them. So that's one thing we strive for also is we're trying to bring a good product to people because the way the economy is going right now, people are getting tighter on money as well. We want to try to offer them good quality stuff and not break the bank on them. So
And just to be clear too, these gaiters will have lights on them too. So you're not only just getting snake resistant
the
gaiters,
protection.
like lighted gaiters. So
Right.
like you were talking about, you guys were talking about comfort, being comfortable, but also obviously safety, right? Protection from snake bites. And you get the lights too, and you get the benefits of hands-free lighting, seeing where you're going, not being not only seeing snakes, but you're seeing rocks and trees in front of you, so you're not tripping on things and break a bone.
This is another very important word when you're out in the outdoors, safety.
yes.
Everybody wants to be safe when they're out there in the field.
Yeah, we when we look at these gaiters, and I mean, these are two things that we want to accomplish: safety and comfort. And I think, with the snake gaiters coming out, I think they will offer protection for sure. And you got lights, so you can see what you're doing.
So as a rough estimate, guys, when could we expect these to hit the market?
It'll be sometime this fall, if everything goes well. We're working very hard on bringing these to the market sometime, October, November.
It's a good time to start releasing them for sure. Everybody's going to be diehards out in the field. I mean, if you're a fisherman, you're fishing year round like me. But we down here, like I said, it's kind of the Amazon of the U.S. Even when you're getting in the boat, you got to worry about water moccasins. You got to worry about all types of different critters down there. So it's good to know that you could have that extra safety aspect.
Yeah, and actually, John didn't mention it, but we're pushing to do a pre-sale on these. Hopefully going to launch that August 1st of this year. So just, whoever's following us, and, we'll have a limited quantity to the pre-sale, but we'll definitely open that up if anybody's interested in that.
Now, while we're on the topic of the snake gaiters, you guys have two other models. Let's talk about those real quick for the people that haven't seen them. Give them a little bit of insight on basically the benefits of those. I personally know them, but let's hear it from you guys.
So we started the Trailblazer Gaiters. They are more lightweight. They're actually ultra lightweight, super, super soft. It's made of two different fabric. You have the ripstop on top and the Oxford on the bottom. We like using these for hiking, camping, just easy stuff. They're waterproof, and they protect you from rocks and rain and water, whatever. But they're easy to put on and off. Um, and and after that, we came up with a second version, which is the Gaiters, Gaiters, and they are made with Oxford fabric. Very, very durable, rough, rugged, and you can actually go off trail and they will protect your feet, and your calves from anything.
So you guys reached out to me, like I said, over a year ago at this point, and the first model that I tested out was the Trailblazers, and I was like, these things feel amazing. They're lightweight. I barely feel like they're on my legs. They're not weighing me down. They're not an extra hassle in basically the apparel that I'm already wearing. So, like you said, I tend to use those a lot more because they're lightweight and they're not as thick, like you said, in a sense, for like hiking, for if I'm going on a late night jog or something like that. They're very beneficial to see the light down at my feet. But when it comes to the Cohutas, that's typically what I'm going with out in the field for sure, because they're a little bit more rugged. They could take a bit more of a beating, and everything that we've noted pretty much already, being waterproof, being briar resistant, palm, just basically all the thick stuff that I'm running through. It definitely helps protect me from all of those things. So it's good to have options when you're out there in the field, and I feel like both of them have their benefits. Obviously, the snake resistant Gaiters are going to have their benefits. I'd like to touch on that topic a little bit while we're talking about models. These guys already know the story. It's kind of something that we talked about in the background. Not a lot of people know this story. I kind of kept it under wraps because, I don't need people worrying out there.
This is Field Tester Chronicles, right here.
Yeah, for sure. So back in, I want to say it was March when our turkey season popped off here in South Florida. I was out there in the woods. I'm pretty aware of my surroundings when I'm out there. I'm always looking around at my feet. I'm always very aware of what's in the trees, what I'm walking through. I'm going through some pretty harsh stuff. I'm going through swamps. I'm going through cypress bottoms, pine rows, just all kinds of different vegetation and elements out there. Wet, dry, it doesn't matter. During this turkey hunt day, I'm going to try to keep this short. I went and posted up in a palmetto area that was pretty thick, and it's surrounded by a bunch of other pines and stuff like that. Typical South Florida environment. And I'm sitting out there turkey hunting. I'm calling, I'm doing my thing. The day's not going exactly how I want it to go. I'm sure a lot of people could relate this past turkey season. But so when I went to get up and get ready to go retrieve my decoys, I got up and I actually hit a spider web. This, naturally threw me off my game. I'm trying to get this thing out of my face, and I took a step to my right. Little did I know, under one of those palmetto branches was a water moccasin, aka a cottonmouth. I instantly felt something tag my leg. And that's not something that you want to feel when you're in the woods. So it's like, I came out here alone. What just tapped my leg? I looked down to my right, and sure enough, there was a water moccasin there. And this day I was wearing my Cohutas, which is, like you guys said, it's more on the thicker side as far as material goes. And this little sucker's coiled up, and he's ready for round 2. So this is how I knew that I was tagged. Whether it was a dry bite or a wet bite, I'm not 100% sure. I couldn't really identify that on my Gaiters, but I 100% got tagged. He was ready for round 2, and I tried to collect my thoughts. I took a step back, got out of there, instantly took off my Gaiters to check my leg because my adrenaline's running high at this point. I don't know what exactly transpired when I walked into this spider web. My head's all over the place. I take off my boots, I take off the Gaiters, I had to instantly pull up my pant leg. Nothing went through those Cohutas. I am very, very thankful for that. Obviously, we're not going to go and call those snake resistant. You guys obviously developed something after my story for that particular circumstance or situation, we'll call it. I was very lucky that day. I was 1 mile away from the truck. I
So
was
tell them what kind of boots you had on.
so I typically, I'm a budget hunter when it comes to this stuff, man. I can't lie. I don't really buy super expensive gear like that. I'm not a Sitka guy. I'm not a expensive boot guy when it comes to this stuff, because I mean what I'm running through is very thick and rugged stuff. It's gonna get ruined, and it's gonna get ruined fast. And I'm out the woods. I mean, if I could be out there 365 days a year, I would. But I am out there more than half the year for sure. And I was just running some cheap neoprene $35 boots from Bass Pro. I mean, I could post a picture up on this on the podcast's Instagram page after this is posted, so you guys could see what I'm running with. It's nothing special. It's just basic neoprene boots, and all I had over those things were those Gaiters. And I was extremely lucky that day. Like I said, I was a mile away from the truck, an hour drive out of this wildlife management area that I was in, which you're basically tacking on close to 2 hours at this point. And I want to add, once I get an hour drive out of the WMA, the wildlife management area, probably another 30 to 45 minutes to the hospital, the nearest hospital. You get tagged by one of those snakes, time is against you. You're trying to get to the hospital as fast as possible. I mean, probably the best bet would be trying to get a helicopter out there. But where I'm hunting, I'm going off the unbeaten path. There's no service. So it's one of those things where, yeah, it's a do or die situation. And that day was do or die. And I was extremely lucky with those Cohutta Gaiters. So I can't thank you guys enough for bringing this product out to the field. Obviously, like I said, we're not running those as snake resistant, but it did 100% take a water moccasin bite. Which, for the people that don't know, it's a very small venomous snake. It's not a huge. It's not like a eastern diamondback or anything like that. It's a very small reptile, a small snake, and yeah. Size doesn't matter. That little sucker will put a hurting on you if it gets through. And luckily it didn't. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a great story. We were thrilled to hear it. Like you said, that we hadn't had, that was our first off-label snake bite against the Cohuttas. And the important part, I guess, like you said, this story is just and we've hit on this over and over, but having an extra layer in the woods of anything, especially if you're in a snake ridden area or you're concerned about them, our snake gaiters that we're developing would be the choice. If you're in an area that there's just a lot of debris or potentially like non-venomous snakes that you get snake bites, the Cohutta Gaiters are very tough, and very rugged, and a lot of people like that about them. Obviously, they retain more heat than like the Trailblazers, like you're saying,
Right.
and slightly heavier. But as far as ruggedness, we've had another field tester gave me some feedback the other day. He said, "Man, I was running and I jumped over a fence with barbed wire, and just going over to another field to hunt, and got my gator hung on the barbed wire." He said I could just hear it scratching across. He's like, I was sick. He said I looked down, I figured he had split it in half or tore the Cohuttas, and he looked down and they weren't even blemished from that. So
That is serious.
Barbed wire proof, briar proof. I mean, however you want to call it, they're tough.
They are rugged for sure.
So, and that being that rugged and retaining comfort is key. That's what we want to provide.
Now, at this time that we're recording the show, it's July 7th today. Obviously, this is going to be posted a little bit further down the road, but currently, what pricing are the Gaiters at this point right now? Just to give everybody a feel of what they could expect if they wanted to get out and purchase these right now. Obviously, the Sidewinders aren't out, but if you want to disclose the field of where you guys are trying to aim at the price with that, but yeah.
So the Trailblazer Gators, we start with those. They are $55 a pair.
$55 for peace of mind. That is insane. That is super cheap. Sorry, John. I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
no,
off, but
you're
that's
good. You're
crazy.
good. You're
And
good.
that's
Yeah,
with a set of white lights.
exactly. So the Cajadas are $65 a piece, pair, I should say. And the Signwider Gators are we want to keep that the price as low as possible. And we will we'll try to keep it under $100. So that's our goal.
So under
Um,
$100 for peace of mind for something that's snake resistant. I don't think there's anyone out there right now pushing a product that could hit that price point.
yeah, I mean, our goal is to is to make people think, if I wear gaiters, why am I buying gaiters with no lights? And that's what, at that price. That's our goal. We don't want to rip people off. We just want to provide a good product, uh, useful product.
All right, guys. So now that we covered like the pricing of the all the models that you guys have available, there's something that I want to touch on real quick, and basically, are these patented? Is that something that you guys secured when you designed them?
So we have a patent pending on our lighter gators. And we actually have a patent on, I think we mentioned that before, on lighter boots. So that's something that we'll be working on in the near future.
So you guys have the Sidewinders, you guys have the Cohutas, you guys have the Trailblazers. Is there anything else in the pipeline that you guys want to touch on? You just mentioned lighted boots. That is very interesting because some people may think that they don't need the gaiters, but they want to go straight to the boots. So is that something that you guys got down in the pipeline, or tell me a little bit about the future of Nighthawk?
Yeah, so we try to stay a little progressive and step ahead, bringing out new products and innovative things for people. But the boots we've been working on for years, and we've gone through several prototypes. But like we mentioned before, the Gaiters are a little more universal. So people that prefer what types of boots they've got, or they own a pair of boots, hunting boots that they've spent several $100s on. This allows them to add that extra protective layer with the Gaiters without breaking the bank, really, and adds an extra low level of protection and waterproofing. Now, we are in the process of redesigning our lights as well. We want to provide a completely waterproof edition of our light, also based on some customer input. And
I want to touch base on that real quick because one of the first things that I did when I got these Gaiters, I was in the Everglades, and I was like, I'm gonna put these things through hell. They want me to field test it. I'm gonna field test it. And as you all know, the Everglades is very wet. Obviously, at this point, you can't say that they are waterproof, and I could tell you that firsthand. Field testing them, I fully submerged these puppies plenty of times, and let me tell you, they lasted pretty long. They went through the abuse, but they definitely aren't waterproof. So that's awesome that you guys are redesigning that.
yeah, we urge people, like, when our current lights are in the Gator itself, you can take a water hose and spray the front of them constantly for 5 minutes, and it won't affect the use of them at all.
Right.
Submerging them, we don't have a gasket in those lights that will make them completely waterproof. So what we're going to do, we're going to redesign the light a little bit, probably enhance the battery life as well, so make it last even longer, even though it lasts, in my opinion, plenty long. But we're going to give people an extra, some more milliamp hours of battery life to reduce the frequency of charging. We're also going to try to convert the USB charging port to a USB-C charging port, which allows us to create a better circuit board for waterproofing. And these lights we're going to develop. They're going to be proprietary Nighthawk lights, and so we're working on that. And also, they will be used in our boots primarily at first. But one of the good things is once again, hitting our company motto is to keep value and cost down for people. We're going to try to make these lights where they'll retrofit all of our Gaiters so far. So if you purchased a pair of Gaiters and you want to upgrade to the new waterproof lights down the road, you don't have to buy a whole new set of Gaiters.
That's awesome.
For them to work. So
that is one of the great benefits of them being, basically you could remove them pretty much.
Exactly. So you can swap them in and out. So if you wanted an upgraded version when they come out, and like I said, it's kind of overkill on the Gaiters unless you want to submerge them, because the current lights are very water resistant once they're installed. But as far as the boots go, we want to make boots where people can actually, get pretty deep into stuff. We also, have other kind of industries that we haven't touched on that's completely outside of hunting, fishing, in the outdoor world, but like concrete workers and electricians and things like that have shown a huge interest, or civil engineers that walk property. A lot of these people are waiting for a completely waterproof edition. Another thing, initially when we developed the boots, or came up with a concept, the patent, is we want to do a lot of work for disaster relief as well. So
that's awesome.
During hurricanes, cleanups or tornadoes or anything like that, we want to be able to go down and send some pairs of these boots with waterproof lights to these FEMA workers and things like that, so that they can help find people, in the rubble, because obviously the light's going to be right there where they need it. And it's going to make a system very well, and also have a completely waterproof light is going to be effective. So there's a lot of stuff we're looking at down the road, and an expansion, and then eventually we're gonna tear off and offer kids boots as well.
That's definitely awesome. I know that's going to be a question that a lot of people are probably going to ask down the road after hearing this. Are they available for kids? Because, there's a lot of people out there in the field, doesn't matter what outdoor field you're in, that are out there getting their kids involved, which I absolutely love. Get the kids outside, get them out of the house, whatever you guys do, just get them involved in the outdoors, because the world's just getting weird, man. There's so much you could benefit from just being out there in the outdoors. So I highly encourage people taking their kids and getting them out of those four walls any chance that they get.
Yeah. So that brought up another thing I just thought about, since you mentioned that. If people are wondering, our Gaiters do come in sizes, and we do have size charts on our website. So we actually offer a small Gaiter, and that's about the smallest we can go with our design as of now. So as far as like kids Gaiters, we may visit that in the future, but we're going to probably come out with kids boots first before we ever come out with kids Gaiters. It's a little bit easier to design.
Right.
But the smalls will actually fit smaller females and maybe teenage boys of our Gaiters. And then the sizes go up from there. Some of them, I think the cut is we even offer a double XL. And I think the Trailblazers will go up to an XL. When we launched the Sidewinder Gaiters or Snake Gaiters, our first order or production of those are going to be in mediums and larges only.
So that there's a lot of room to work with as far as adults go. As far as sizing, you guys pretty much already have that covered.
Correct. And that's what we touched before, like other Snake Gaiters on the market are one size fits all. You strap them on. We're going to actually have initially 2 different sizes, which are pretty common sizes.
Which comes back to that comfort zone as far as when you're wearing a product. You know, you don't want it to be too bulky, you don't want to be too loose, too tight. So having that option of having an actual size definitely goes a long way.
Yeah, and it can give you a lot more flexibility too. So if you order one that's slightly bigger, you can cinch them down a little bit when you're not wearing thick clothing. But then once you put on thicker boots or thicker clothing, it'll also work for that. So once again, we're trying to provide versatility so that you're not having to buy 2 separate pairs and keeping your costs down and having a good product.
One thing that I love about these guys is they take constructive criticism so well. Like I said before with the situation with the lights, as soon as one of my lights went out after fully submerging them, I was unaware. I didn't know if they were 100% waterproof or not. I was like, "Hey, Jason, just want to let you know, I'm out here field testing these in the Everglades. A light just went out." They listen to their customers, man, because look at where we're at now. A waterproof light is on the way. As soon as I told them about that snake bite situation, they're like, "That is insane. This is something that we definitely want to look into now. We're going to get on it." And a couple months later, here we are. So innovation is something that's very, very important to these guys, and listening to the customers. And there's not many more things that you could ask for when it comes to a company. You could get on every single Google review or Yelp or whatever and, complain and say this and that. And most companies, they won't listen. They'll be like, whatever, we got your money already. These guys are completely different when it comes to that aspect. And I love that.
Yeah, and that's one thing we strive for, Ron. We want our customers happy. We want them to be satisfied with what they get, and we want a good value to use ratio for people to feel like they've got a good benefit from our product. To this day, we have not had a single return on our products other than for size adjustments. So that says a lot. I mean, we've been at it for a little over a year and a half, and we've had a couple little mishaps, and we handled them right away with a couple people, and their response to our timeliness and handling the issue was extraordinary. If you read some of our reviews, you could probably pick up on that. We have not a lot, but the ones that we have are mostly 5-star reviews. So we take that very seriously. We want to bring back old school customer service to people. When you email us, either John or myself are checking the company email daily. So if you don't get a response back within 4 hours, then either the email hasn't come through to us or something weird has happened. The world has ended, because we're very punctual with stuff. So
That's awesome.
And we're available to get in touch with at any point. And like you said before, we're open to any kind of criticism. We listen to our customers. We want to provide any kind of insight or better products or better modifications of the product. Obviously, we get everybody's mom and pop input too, which we have to siphon out some of that. but that's part of being a company. But everybody's opinion matters to us. So we appreciate you having us here today on the show. And I don't know if there's anything you want to add, John.
Yeah, we like you mentioned, we want to make a good product, bring it to the market that's useful, and without charging people a lot of money. And that's our goal. We want everybody to be able to enjoy being outside and safely, and having protection. So.
Another thing, I don't know if this was touched, is as far as a point goes, this is a veteran operated company. Obviously Junior's not here today, but he is the third owner of the company. And he did serve this country. So this is a veteran operated company. That if you guys didn't know, now you know. Also, they are big on conservation. They are big on youth. There's a lot that these guys do in the background that a lot of people don't get to see, and we're always talking on about it on a daily basis because I keep in contact with these guys all the time. And for anyone that knows me, they know very well if I don't believe in a product, if I don't believe in a company, I'm not going to give them the time of day. I'm not going to give them any spotlight. I'm not going to refer it to anyone. But these guys right here, these are stand-up guys. There's a lot that goes on in the background that a lot of people don't see, like I said, and I applaud both of you and also Junior, wherever he may be in the country right now.
He's sleeping in the Philippines. Yeah, so we appreciate it, and we all appreciate you for what you've done field testing for us, and all of our other field testers that we have on staff. And it's a really cool feeling to see people really enjoy our product. I mean, we get great joy out of those people that throw those Gaiters on and then click them on high when they get them and it's nighttime. They're like, "Holy crap! Look at that light!" So, I mean, that's what we do this for. I mean, we really love it. We love seeing our products being used, and I think people really see the value of the product once they get it in their hands, and that's when the real feedback comes, that we enjoy seeing.
Thank you, John, for bringing us to your show, and we really appreciate this opportunity.
Oh yeah, this was long overdue, guys. I've been waiting to record this for a very long time because this is a very, like I said, this is a anytime I'm in the field, like I said, if I'm doing like a fishing tournament or anything, there's so many different benefits that come with this product that I use it for personally. So I was very excited to record this show today and to have you guys on here and to be able to educate everybody else out there because I feel like you guys are so fresh in the market right now that you guys have barely scratched the surface, and a lot of people don't know about Gaiters. They don't know the benefits or what else you guys have down in the pipeline with the boots or things like that. So to be able to give you guys a platform to be able to express yourselves and put the word out there, I mean, I couldn't think of a better way or a better guest to have on to be able to do this right now. This has been awesome. It's been a good I'd say a year and a half now since we've all been in contact and I've been running these things and I have zero complaints all around, zero complaints.
Well, we appreciate it. Yeah, we and we were perfectly happy with supplying you some more lights after you did some good testing and dunked them in that gator hole. But yeah, no, we really do appreciate you having us on this podcast, and really appreciate that you're doing the podcast, just to bring light to the outdoors, and like you touched earlier, bringing light to the children getting outdoors, and also I believe you're going to be doing females in outdoor like on Fridays.
Yes. Yes, we will be getting the ladies on here to be able to get their field of view out there and get, we have different opinions than they do, and I want everybody to, I basically want to cover all grounds, so I want to give everybody an opportunity to have this platform to be able to express themselves and their love for the outdoors. Like I said in the first episode, this isn't just hunting based. This isn't just fishing based. I mean, if it involves the outdoors, I'm all for it. Get on here, tell your story, tell us why you love it. Encourage people to just get out there and, just submerge themselves in God's country. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. It's peaceful. It's something that we recommend people do, whether you're wearing our product or not. But it's definitely something that's overlooked these days.
Is there anything else that you guys want to touch base on for the show today for everybody to hear?
Enjoy being outside, stay safe, and stay happy.
And keep your eyes out. Follow us for the Sidewinder launch. I think you guys will really like them.
That's coming very soon. We're looking at a fall, you guys said, right?
Correct.
And under $100. You cannot beat that, guys. All right, everyone. Well, I think it's been a very successful episode. I'm glad to have you guys on here, like I said, to be able to educate everyone and to put this product out there. And I can't wait to see what people are going to say about it. You know, as soon as they get on that website and start ordering some of these and putting out their own opinions, because, like I said, I feel like it hasn't really scratched the surface. But I'm excited to see what the next step is for Nighthawk footwear.
We appreciate it.
All right, guys. Well, this is your host, Ron Legal. Thank you again, Jason, and thank you again, John. And we're basically gonna close this out here. Everybody go ahead and follow these guys at Nighthawk Footwear on Instagram and check out their website at www.lightedfootwear.com. And we're out, guys.